My name is Pete Marasco, and I was born in a small little town called Sovria in the province of Catanzaro in the region of Calabria, southern Italy. Came alone by boat, and I remember 7 days on this wonderful American boat called Independence, where I met a lot of wonderful people from Italy as well, from Europe too. Yes, my father was already here, and my entire family from my grandfather, who arrived in this country in 1881, was over here. My father had 4 brothers and 1 sister, and all living together in one street on the southwest first, starting from Jackson on the corner all the way through to the river. Why we end up in Iowa, frankly, I do not know it for sure, but I have been told that my grandfather did work for the railroad, and therefore he followed the railroad crew, working part of the crew, and he ended up stopping Des Moines because here in Des Moines there were some relations. And all the rest of his friends and some other relatives, they end up living and stopping in Omaha, Nebraska. My father had 4 brothers over here and a sister, and they all came over at the turn of the last century. But my immediate family couldn't come because Mussolini, who was the head of the Italian government, decided that the people better stay in the country rather than going overseas, and there was an impossibility for us to come. Plus the war started, but then at the end of the war, we all were happy to reach the rest of our family here in Des Moines. That's basically what it was, you know. School don't have much of a job except that maybe my father was a shoemaker, and I remember I used to go in his shop and doing chores work for him. But my hometown at the time, for what concerned education, there was only the elementary level. The junior high school for me was done in a town called Maida, in the province of Catanzaro, because my uncle, my mother's brother, was a priest in their town. And my father and my mom, they sent me there because they thought my education could be there much better than staying in town where there was only the elementary available for me. Eventually, I went to high school in the city of Catanzaro. Catanzaro happened to be the city province of the area where I was born. And so the high school was there. So we get up at 4:45, well, 4:45 was the train to leave the town. And we all get in the train and traveling all the way to Catanzaro. We arrive over there around 7:30. We get up, whatever we could have with us, and we went to the high school. That's how I did attend high school. Almost every year we go over there, my wife and I, and we go there. It is a wonderful revival, you know, a rejuvenation of my spirit. Yes, both of them, they went there. My son Albert, which is named after his grandfather, my dad Albert, he went for the first time there when he was in high school. His grandfather, my dad, that is, brought him there, and together they stay over there about a month, 1 or 2 months they stay there. And then eventually, when he got married, he went there with his wife, showing around where his blood came from. Well, when I arrived to Iowa, I had few little jobs here and there working, but I was drafted into the Army about 11 months later. And after a basic training in Fort Carson, Colorado, and in Fort Lee, Virginia, I was shipped in Germany. Since I knew how to use rulers and all the tools of drafting. Then I was the company draftsman in Germany. Well, when I got out of the service, I went to work for the, now they call it DNR, but at the time it was the Conservation Commission. And since I knew how to, because I was training to be a surveyor in a high school in Italy. So I knew how to do taking elevations. At the time we were using the level and the stadia for the heights, and somebody was taking the notes. So there were three guys who, most of the time in the early spring and in the late fall, we used to go in the field, getting elevations to repair canals, swamp, dry swamping areas for water flow, whatever. And I spent my time in, just creating maps for the Conservation Commission. That's what I did. Some artwork in Des Moines. I have been honored and very fortunate to be asked to create some artwork for the Botanical Center that is over there, a 10 or 12 foot high bronze sculpture in the bonsai area there in the section. It's a complicated, but it's not complicated. But anyway, what I do a lot of visits with the company, and I talk to them, and I ask a lot of questions. So until I have a feeling and an understanding of what the company really would like to see out of it to be done. And once I have those indications, then I take few notes, and then I proceeded to do sketches. When sometime there are a dozen, sometime maybe it's 100 or more. And then out of this, I selected the one that are most appropriate for the company, for the philosophy and the purpose of the company and their service. And then I proceed, and then I bring it to them. They selected the one that they like, and then I made a model out of those. And I will suggest to them where it should go and how height should be and what kind of material should be made. And most of the time, frankly, I have been fortunate that they did agree with me. But I took fine arts at Drake University because Iowa State, I had to transfer, by the way, from Iowa State to Drake, because Drake at Iowa State did not have any fine arts. They had some art course only in homemade. But that's yes, so we say hello left and right, but at the morning they used to be at the Memorial Auditorium once a year, what they call the Foreign Students Festival. And there I was in the Italian booth, and somebody called me to go in front because there was an important message. And the important message was in. So we started from there. Children Albert, who also graduated as an engineer from Iowa State. And we do have, and then Emily also graduated from Iowa State University, and then now she works as a scientist because she majored in animal husbandry there. But now she's a scientist with her husband in University of New York State University in Rochester at the Word of English. And I believe going to the Army was the way to learn English. And after consulting the people in charge here in Des Moines, they agreed to, then the situation became more a reality. And finally, the committee of Des Moines went to Catanzaro to sign the documents of sisterhood. And the following year, in 1986, they came over here, 2006. In 2006, they came over and they signed the agreement here in Des Moines, which went in a beautiful, nice fusion of friendship in the city hall of Des Moines. Yes. Occasionally there was, but really did not make me bitter about it, and neither I make big deal about it. Those kinds of careless expressions sometimes they're found anywhere for any circumstance, but I have to say that I have been accepted by this here in Iowa, and then I accept it in a full heart that Iowa, Des Moines, and my county here had to offer to me. Anything that they offer, I accept it with pride and with happiness. Yes, indeed.